Greetings from Boston. We have developments in Madrid, some upsets, some surprises, some unexpected faces will be competing in the quarterfinals. I want to review the matches from the round of 16 today, talk about the quarterfinals coming up tomorrow, and discuss some of the prospects going into the semis and to the finals. One of our key assassins has fallen and will not be there for us to help get the job done, as it were. So we have to change a bit of our calculus going forward, but so much to talk about here. The other issue I wanted to raise today was the issue of match fixing, something that you guys might have heard about in the last couple of weeks. There was a report released fairly recently shedding light on this very important issue, and again, I want to open up a discussion about match fixing. So stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. Let's talk tennis! I said yesterday that while Juan Martín del Potro has looked fairly good in this tournament at Madrid, there was the slight reservation that he is out of practice. It does sometimes take a while to kind of get back into the swing of things with match play. So there was that reservation, and as it happened, Lajovic brought a devastating game today. Was landing all of his shots, picking the angles just perfectly, and so he was rewarded in the end with this win. Final score 3-6, 6-4, 7-6. Again, Lajovic prevailing in something of an upset. The key to Lajovic's win, or one key, he was serving very well and very consistently, but the one-hander that Lajovic brings was one of the keys, because Delpo was putting a lot of shots very precisely into that backhand corner wing of Lajovic's, and Lajovic was using his one-hander to sort of pick those balls out of the corner in a very effective way. Well, Delpo, with his very awkward two-hander, he must have the ugliest two-hander on the tour, was unable to do the same when Lajovic, in response, placed all these balls deep into Delpo's backhand corner. So that was part of what enabled Lajovic to prevail here. He just looked very strong today, and Delpo was just not moving well. Delpo looked sluggish. I guess he always sort of looks sluggish, to be honest, but so it's kind of hard to tell what he really feels, but he did seem sluggish. I enjoy watching Delpo play, notwithstanding his very unbeautiful two-hander, which he was struggling with today. He also brings a nice slice, a one-handed slice, which works better than his two-hander. A couple times he was just in these terrible, awkward positions. He's a big guy, of course, so that two-hander was just terrible today. But Lajovic prevails, and a one-hander comes through. I'm of a bit of a mixed feeling about this match, because I do think Delpo stood a better chance against Nadal, who is our main target here. We'll just have to see what Lajovic can do against Anderson in the quarterfinal, and if Nadal makes it through, we're going to talk about Nadal in a second. If Nadal gets through Thiem, provided he gets through Schwartzman, which he looks to be doing right now, but if he gets through Thiem, it could be Lajovic if Lajovic prevails over Anderson. So that could be an interesting match. But again, I'm kind of a mixed feeling about that, because I think Delpo stood a better chance of doing a job on Rafa than Lajovic does. But we will see. The other big news is that Kyle Edmund staged something of an upset against David Goffin, prevailing 6-3, 6-3, a straight set victory for Edmund, who looks very strong, very consistent, very solid. He will go on in the quarterfinal to face Denis Shapovalov, who staged yet another mini upset by defeating Milos Raonic today. That was a good match. It was a straight set match for Shapo, 6-4, 6-4. 6-4. Shapo looks very good. As one of the commenters said, he is something of a torchbearer. I don't see him as the sort of natural, having the natural abilities that, say, a Tsitsipas has, the natural abilities and sort of grace in movement. But he does the job. He's got to get by Edmund. Edmund's looking very strong. And Zverev, Alexander Zverev as well, will be someone that Shapo will probably have to deal with in the semifinal if he wants to get to Nadal in the final, provided Nadal's in the final. There are a lot of contingencies here, but Zverev, Alexander Zverev, did prevail over Leonardo Meyer, who's probably my least favorite player with a one-handed backhand on the tour. So I'm not too unhappy about Zverev getting through. He did that in straight sets. And we'll just see what happens in those quarterfinals. It very well could be a Zverev versus Shapo semifinal if Shapo can take care of Edmund. The other big round of 16 match was the Coric versus Thiem. I was sort of hoping that Coric could sustain form, but you know what? Thiem was able to rekindle some fire after losing the first set and came back to win the match against Coric. Final score 2-6, 7-6, 6-4, and Thiem looked very, very good toward the end of this match. Good enough to beat Nadal, and Nadal is going to be his next opponent. Thiem has to be one of the people that we look at very closely and that we root for, because he is the only one here who has, in fact, beaten Rafael Nadal on clay twice. So this quarterfinal coming up is very significant. Of course, Thiem wants blood after being defeated by Nadal a few weeks ago, and I think he can deliver now. I think he can deliver now. So this is the match to watch tomorrow. I just want Thiem to bring his best level of play to the court, which he didn't do last time. This week, it's been taking Thiem, it seems, one set to kind of warm up. He's been dropping the first set to his opponents in his two matches that he's played here. So maybe he drops the first set to Nadal. For Thiem, dropping a set to Nadal in light of this previous experience may not be so bad because he's come back to win both of his matches. And Coric is a tough customer, a very tough customer. So bravo for Dominic Thiem, displaying some very good form on the clay at Madrid. I think he is capable of doing the job that needs to be done, folks. So that is the short review of what is happening at Madrid. The other issue I wanted to talk about is the issue of match fixing. A report released recently by an independent commission concluded that there is, quote, a tsunami of match fixing occurring at the lower levels of tennis in the Challenger and Futures tournaments particularly. And the extent of the match fixing is very substantial. What's happening is basically this. The bettors are offering the players money, again, at the lower levels, to, say, surrender a set or surrender a match. Just lose the match. We'll pay you a certain amount of money. And they are susceptible, the players are susceptible to this because they don't make much money at that level. They are underpaid. So they are susceptible, a bit corruptible. They want the money, and so sometimes they accept these propositions made by the bettors. There weren't a lot of conclusions about what's happening at the upper end of the sport, at the top levels of the sport. You would think that the folks at the top are making enough money so that they're probably not interested in little propositions by bettors. They've already really made their millions in the top 10 or whatnot. But Then again, you could argue that, everyone has their price, and for the big matches, the bettors are probably willing to offer a lot more to, say, Alexander Zverev to lose a set in his semifinal match. It may be happening. So my question to you is, do you think match fixing it's definitely happening at the lower levels. Do you think match fixing is happening at the top levels, at the levels that we've been examining, the kinds of players that we've been looking at? Do you think they're doing match fixing? Let me know what you think. In particular, are there particular matches that you've watched in the past few months, say, or in the past couple of years where there's sort of suspicious activity, where one of the players who seems to be stronger than the other player kind of surrenders, for all intents and purposes, surrenders a set, or surrenders the match, it seems like, just kind of loses the match, just lets it go. Have you ever seen that? The other issue, of course, is that there are players coming up from the lower ranks into the upper ranks. We've been talking a lot about Stefanos Tsitsipas. Now, he's coming out of those challenger tournaments, or those futures tournaments. That's where he's been playing for a couple of years now. But now he's coming into the top 50. Well, I think it's pretty much without a doubt that Tsitsipas has probably been propositioned at some point, given the conclusions in this report, that Tsitsipas has been propositioned at some point. Every instinct in me says he has not accepted the proposition, so I believe that. But you do have players that are in the lower ranks and then they work their way up. But do they bring that corruptibility with them? Let me know. Any matches involving top players that you've seen in the last couple of years that seem suspicious to you? What do you think about the issue of match fixing? It's very demoralizing for me to think that these matches are being fixed. I love the game so much. I want a fair competition. I want both players to play their best. I want the best player to win. I want each match to be a measure of who the best player is. But match fixing just screws that up, doesn't it? So it's demoralizing. Let's open up a discussion. Let me know what you think. Drop a comment. I am so much looking forward to this match tomorrow between Thiem and Nadal. It's going to be great to watch. I think Thiem can do the job. It might take him a while to get warmed up, but he wants blood. He wants blood, so he's our big assassin. He does do a little grunting. It's unfortunate. It's certainly not as bad as the big excessive grunters, not as bad as Nadal. Hey, if we have to fight fire with fire, if we have to put a grunter out there to beat the all-star grunter, Rafael Nadal, well, maybe it's necessary to do it. So we wish the best for Thiem. Drop a comment, subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. I'll look forward to talking with you soon. Bye.